At sunrise, olive farmers in southern Italy walk between trees planted by their grandparents. In Spain, groves once green now struggle under drought. In Tunisia, families calculate whether this year's harvest will cover rising fuel and water costs. And in Palestine, people still gather olives by hand, sometimes under threat, because abandoning the trees would mean abandoning who they are. Across the world right now, olive oil is becoming more expensive, more fragile, and more precious. For some, it has turned into a luxury bottle locked behind glass. For others, it remains a survival food, pressed, shared, and guarded like inheritance. Yet, despite climate change, political pressure, and global markets, the olive tree continues to stand, rooted, patient, resistant. This is why olive oil has never been just an ingredient. In Italy, chefs do not begin cooking until the oil is chosen. They smell it, they taste it. They remember who taught them how to use it. Olive oil carries identity, regional pride, family memory, and the quiet defiance of tradition in a fast, disposable world. And this reverence is not unique to Italy. In the Quran, the olive tree is described as blessed, a source of light, nourishment, and wisdom. In Surah An-Nur, Allah speaks of a lamp lit from the oil of a blessed olive tree, neither of the east nor of the west. An oil so pure, it nearly glows on its own. This is not only metaphor, it is guidance. So we must ask a deeper question. Why have Italian chefs trusted olive oil for centuries? And why does divine revelation elevate the same tree? Because olive oil is where food becomes memory, cooking becomes care, and nourishment becomes barakah. This is not just about cooking. It's about memory, survival, and barakah. From which country do you associate olive oil with home? Tell us your story in the comments. Before we begin, please like the video, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss anything. Share this video with your loved ones, because this knowledge can literally change a life. In many Italian homes, the first lesson in cooking is not a recipe. It is respect. Before a pan is heated, before garlic touches oil, a nonna pours a small spoon of olive oil into her palm. She smells it. Sometimes she tastes it alone. This moment is silent, almost ceremonial. Because olive oil is not just flavor, it is trust. That same gesture exists far beyond Italy. Right now, in Palestine, families are harvesting olives under conditions the world rarely sees on cooking shows. Children learn early how to separate good olives from damaged ones, how to work quickly but gently, how to protect what their grandparents protected. The oil pressed from those olives is rationed carefully, not because it is trendy, but because it represents land, history, and the refusal to disappear. Across the Mediterranean, olive oil is identity made liquid. This is why Italian chefs speak of olive oil as if it were alive. They say it reacts to heat, absorbs intention, and remembers how it is treated. In modern kitchens, where speed is rewarded and shortcuts are celebrated, olive oil remains a quiet protest against carelessness. The Quran speaks to this same truth. In Surah At-Tin, Allah swears by the fig and the olive, placing the olive among symbols of continuity, nourishment, and divine attention. Scholars have long reflected on why Allah chooses everyday foods, not jewels, not gold, to represent what is sacred. The answer is simple. What sustains life carries meaning. To cook with olive oil, then, is to participate in a lineage. A lineage of farmers who stayed when leaving was easier. Of cooks who refused to replace tradition with convenience. Of people who understood that food is not separate from faith, land, or dignity. Italian chefs did not invent this reverence. They inherited it. Cook with intention, not haste. Olive oil responds to respect. Do you believe intention changes the taste of food? Share your thoughts in the comments. An Italian chef will tell you that cooking does not begin in the kitchen. It begins in the choice. Before any flame is lit, before any knife touches wood, the olive oil is decided. Not all olive oil is meant to cook the same meal, and not all olive oil deserves to be called olive oil. Across Italy today, a new generation of chefs is quietly rejecting industrial bottles with shiny labels. Instead, they travel to small groves, meet farmers by name, and ask one question: when was this harvested? Because real extra virgin olive oil isn't timeless. It is alive, and it ages. These chefs swirl the oil in a glass, inhale deeply, and look for signs others mistake as flaws. A sharp bitterness, a peppery bite in the throat, a grassy aroma that stings the nose. This bitterness is not a defect. It is the voice of polyphenols, the compounds that protect the olive, and later, the human body. An oil with no bitterness has no defense and no story. In today's world, where food is increasingly detached from origin, choosing olive oil becomes an ethical act. Climate change has reduced yields. Water scarcity has raised prices. Fraud has flooded markets with diluted oils. Yet Italian chefs persist, because choosing well is how tradition survives modern pressure. The Quran gives language to this discernment through the concept of tayyib, that which is pure, wholesome, and uncorrupted. Food is not only judged by what is permitted, but by what is worthy. Olive oil, when honest and untouched, fulfills this standard naturally. It requires no disguise. This is why olive oil was chosen as a symbol of divine light. It is extracted, not manufactured, pressed, not forced. Its value lies not in excess, but in restraint. To cook like an Italian chef is to refuse shortcuts at the very beginning. To recognize that if the oil is compromised, everything that follows will be compromised too. If your olive oil has no bitterness, it has no soul. When you taste olive oil, what do you notice first? Bitterness, spice, or smoothness? Tell us in the comments. One of the greatest myths in modern cooking is that olive oil cannot handle heat. Italian chefs know this is not true. What olive oil cannot tolerate is disrespect. Too much flame, too much haste, and even the best oil will turn bitter, smoky, and broken. In traditional Italian kitchens, heat is approached slowly. The pan warms before the oil is added. The oil warms before ingredients enter. This pause, often only seconds long, is where discipline lives. Today, as fast cooking dominates screens and algorithms reward speed, this patience has become rare. Yet patience is exactly what olive oil demands. Around the world right now, slow food movements are growing as a response to burnout, processed diets, and disconnection. In Italy, small trattorias still refuse to rush sauces that need time. In North Africa and the Levant, olive oil is heated gently so it does not lose its aroma or nourishment. These methods survive because they work, not only for flavor, but for the body. The Quran repeatedly returns to the concept of sabr, patient endurance. Olive oil mirrors this lesson. When rushed, it burns. When respected, it releases sweetness and depth. Just as human hearts harden under constant pressure, oil collapses under uncontrolled heat. Italian chefs learn to listen to the oil. They watch for movement, not smoke. They know the sound of readiness, the moment when the oil shimmers without shouting. This is control, not dominance, but understanding. Cooking like an Italian chef means accepting that fire is a tool, not a master. That flavor arrives when you slow down enough to notice what the oil is telling you. Olive oil teaches you patience before it rewards you with flavor. Do you usually cook fast or slow? And do you see a connection between your cooking speed and your daily life? Share in the comments. In Italian cooking, flavor does not appear suddenly. It is built layer by layer, starting with olive oil. This foundation is called soffritto, a slow union of olive oil, onion, garlic, celery, and carrot. No spices, no shortcuts, just time and attention. In many Italian families, the proportions of a soffritto are never written down. They are inherited. A daughter watches how her mother cuts onions. A grandson remembers the sound they make when they hit warm oil. These are not techniques taught in schools. They are memories disguised as skills. Across the Mediterranean, this practice has cousins. In North Africa, olive oil gently carries onions and spices into stews. In the Middle East, garlic and oil mark the beginning of countless dishes. The first step is always the same. Olive oil receives the ingredients, not the other way around. Right now, as global food systems prioritize speed and uniformity, this slow foundation is disappearing. Pre-made bases replace fresh aromatics. Flavor becomes something added at the end instead of something grown from the beginning. Italian chefs resist the shift because they understand one truth. If the base is weak, nothing above it can stand. The Quran often speaks of beginnings, of seeds planted, of actions judged by intention. Olive oil in a soffritto plays this role. It carries the first intention of the dish. If rushed or overheated, bitterness forms. If treated gently, sweetness emerges without force. This is why Italian chefs never walk away from the pan at this stage. They stir, adjust heat, and wait until the vegetables soften and surrender their sharpness. The oil transforms them, and they, in turn, transform the oil. Everything that follows, sauce, pasta, vegetables, or meat, depends on this quiet beginning. If your base is weak, your dish will never stand. What ingredient always goes into your pan first when you cook? Tell us in the comments. Italian chefs often say that great cooking is not about adding more, it is about knowing when to stop. Olive oil makes this philosophy possible. When the oil is good, it replaces excess. Butter becomes unnecessary. Heavy sauces become distractions. Flavor is allowed to breathe. In professional Italian kitchens today, menus are shrinking. Dishes once overloaded with ingredients are being refined down to 5 or 6 elements. This is not minimalism for fashion. It is respect for the ingredient. Olive oil, when used correctly, carries flavor so completely that nothing else needs to compete. This approach stands in sharp contrast to modern food culture, where complexity is mistaken for skill. Sauces hide mistakes. Sugar masks imbalance. Additions compensate for poor foundations. Italian chefs refuse this because olive oil exposes truth. It amplifies what is honest and reveals what is not. The Quran warns against excess, israf, not only in wealth, but in consumption. Food that overwhelms the body dulls the senses. Food prepared with restraint nourishes without burden. Olive oil fits naturally into this ethic. It satisfies without overwhelming, enriches without excess. In times of economic pressure and environmental uncertainty, simplicity is no longer a luxury. It is wisdom. Olive oil allows simple ingredients, bread, vegetables, grains, to become complete meals. This is why it has sustained civilizations through hardship. Cooking like an Italian chef means trusting that less can be enough. That one well-chosen oil can do the work of many unnecessary additions. And that clarity, in food as in life, creates space for meaning. Italian cooking is subtraction, not addition. Do you prefer simple dishes or complex ones? And what does that choice say about you? Share below. In Italian kitchens, olive oil appears twice. The first time is at the beginning, when it builds the foundation. The second time is at the end, when it speaks for itself. This final drizzle is never cooked. It is raw, aromatic, and intentional. Italian chefs treat it the way a perfumer treats scent, added last, so it remains recognizable. A few drops over vegetables, pasta or bread release aromas that heat would have destroyed. This is not decoration, it is completion. Today, some of the world's most respected chefs, many working in Michelin-starred kitchens, have returned to this ancient practice. They finish dishes with single-origin olive oils, each chosen for its specific character. Peppery oils for bitter greens, smooth oils for fish, grassy oils for legumes. The oil is no longer hidden, it is named. The Quran describes light as light upon light, a layering rather than a replacement. Finishing with olive oil follows this same wisdom. It does not erase what came before, it enhances it. The dish becomes brighter without becoming heavier. In a world that often mistakes excess for generosity, this restraint feels radical. A small amount of good oil does more than a large amount of mediocre flavor. Italian chefs understand that impact is not about quantity, it is about precision. When olive oil is added at the end, it reminds us of something essential. Nourishment is not only about fullness, it is about clarity, aroma, and the quiet satisfaction of balance. The final drizzle is not decoration, it's a declaration. Have you ever tasted olive oil raw on finished food? What surprised you most? Share your experience in the comments. For centuries, olive oil wasn't marketed as healthy. It was simply eaten. People noticed that communities who relied on it lived longer, moved easier, and suffered fewer chronic illnesses. Today, science has begun to confirm what tradition already knew. But Italian chefs did not need studies to trust their instincts. Right now, across the world, diets are shifting toward ultra-processed oils designed for shelf life, not human life. These oils are cheaper, more stable, and easier to transport. But they come at a cost. Rising inflammation, metabolic disorders, and fatigue are no longer rare, they are common. Olive oil stands apart because it is not engineered, it is extracted. Pressed from fruit, filtered by time, and protected by natural antioxidants. When Italian chefs choose olive oil, they are choosing responsibility. For their guests, for their families, and for their own bodies. The Quran describes the human body as an amana, a trust. What we consume is not neutral. It shapes energy, clarity, and resilience. Food chosen with awareness becomes a form of care. Olive oil fits naturally into this ethic because it nourishes without demanding excess. Even in times of economic difficulty, olive oil has remained central to Mediterranean kitchens because it transforms simple foods into sustaining meals. Bread dipped in olive oil, vegetables dressed lightly, grains enriched without heaviness. This is not indulgence, it is balance. Cooking like an Italian chef means accepting that every meal is a decision. Not only about taste, but about the future health of the body and the systems that feed it. Olive oil asks us to slow down and choose better, even when faster options exist. Every meal is either medicine or harm. What food choice have you made recently to support your health? Share it in the comments. There is a moment in every kitchen when cooking stops being a task and becomes an offering. It happens when a meal is prepared not for attention, but for people. Italian families know this moment well. Sunday tables, where generations gather, dishes passed hand to hand, olive oil poured without measurement because love does not count. The scene is echoed across the Muslim world. Meals prepared for family, neighbors and guests are acts of care, not performance. The Quran reminds us that actions are judged by intention, and feeding others has always been among the simplest forms of worship. Olive oil, present in both traditions, becomes a quiet bridge between cultures. In times of displacement, hardship, or loss, food preserves identity. Today, refugees, migrants, and families under pressure continue to cook the dishes of home. Not because ingredients are perfect, but because memory demands it. Olive oil often becomes the substitute for what is missing, holding flavors together when circumstances fall apart. Italian chefs understand that their craft is not separate from who they are. Cooking is not just technique, it is belonging. Olive oil connects them to land, to ancestors, and to the responsibility of carrying tradition forward without diluting it. The Quran speaks of rizq, provision, not only as sustenance, but as mercy. When food is prepared with care, shared generously, and received with gratitude, it becomes more than nourishment. It becomes meaning. To cook like an Italian chef is, at its core, to cook with presence. To recognize that every meal carries the potential to strengthen bonds, preserve identity, and transform ordinary ingredients into acts of remembrance. When you cook with love, the oil remembers. Who are you cooking for when you step into the kitchen? Share their story in the comments. Olive oil has survived empires, wars, droughts, and the march of industrial food. It continues to nourish, connect, and inspire. From the groves of Palestine to the hills of Tuscany, it is more than an ingredient. It is memory, tradition, and light. It teaches patience, respect, and intention. It asks us to notice, to care, and to savor. In Italian kitchens, it bridges past and present. In the Quran, it symbolizes divine blessing, guidance, and sustenance. Across cultures, it reminds us that simplicity can hold a depth, and small gestures, like a drizzle of olive oil, can carry meaning far beyond the plate. As you prepare your next meal, remember, cooking is not just about feeding the body. It is an opportunity to connect with history, faith, and the people around you. Olive oil transforms ingredients, but it also transforms the cook. So choose your oil carefully. Respect it. Let it guide your hands. Cook with intention. Cook with love. Cook as an act of remembrance and blessing. The olive tree has survived empires. Let its oil guide your kitchen. If this video changed how you see olive oil, write a blessed tree in the comments. Share your story, your memory, your moment of connection.